Most sax players think there's just like one or two ways to make money playing the saxophone. And in today's video, I want to talk to you about the best ways to make the saxophone a career and actually make money playing the instrument that you love. My name is Lorenzo Ferrero. I'm a Latin Grammy Award winner and a Grammy-nominated saxophonist, composer, and arranger, originally from Peru, living in Los Angeles, California, and I've been fortunate enough to travel around the world playing music and do this professionally as a composer, as a saxophone player. I've played in all different contexts, and as some of you already know, I'm really passionate about taking your music career to the next level using technological tools like social media, YouTube, AI, and a lot of other things. And in today's video, I want to talk about something that not many people talk about: how to make money playing the saxophone. And I want to share with you the main ways that you can make money playing these instruments. I'm going to go from the traditional route and the things that maybe if you're a beginner player, you might want to focus on. Then if you're an intermediate level, and how you can actually get to the next level making money on the saxophone. And then finally, if you're already a professional or you've been playing for years and you really want to set yourself apart, then there is a place for everyone. So number one, gigging. That's the obvious one, right? It's literally getting paid for you to offer your services as a saxophone player. But there is different kinds of gigging. And the first one I want to talk about is just your typical local gig, which is the kind of gig that doesn't take all of your time. Simply you can have another job during the day, and simply you can go perform at a jazz club. You can get called to play at a salsa club with a band. You're basically playing for other people, and it doesn't require a lot of your organization or your time other than just going to rehearsals and playing with other bands, getting to the club, going to sound checks and things like that. Now, this is the traditional route, and if you ask me my personal opinion, this is probably the worst one right now on how the music industry is going and the direction that everything's going. But if you're a beginner player, you need the experience of gigging. Now, when I moved to LA, that was the main thing I was doing: playing salsa shows, gigging around. If you're young and you're getting started, don't avoid this part out of laziness, because it is important for you to be playing as a part of an improvement and make some money out of it. The only problem nowadays is that the gigs basically pay very similar to 10 years ago. And as you see, the inflation and the economy, it does not agree with that at all. So for me, I stopped doing that. But if you're in that initial stage where you might be studying in college or you might be working and you really like performing, then go play these gigs, make some money. Now, I do not suggest this is your main income at all. Just have it as a side gig and make some money, play with people, gain experience playing different styles of music with different bands, because that's going to contribute so much to your musicality. Number two, let's elevate the gigs with now playing for bigger artists or bigger bands, which is a higher level of commitment, but it can be much more profitable, and you can actually learn at a different level. I studied at Berklee back in 2010. Then after that, I went touring in Vienna with a few bands, and then I moved to LA. And I started playing gigs and working for film composers, assistants, and playing salsa gigs. But then, around 2017, I got called to play with the first, top artist that I played with at all at that time, which was Gilberto Santa Rosa, a salsa top star. And I was super excited, and I played with him on a tour in California. I learned so much about playing salsa at a higher level, amazing music, amazing musicians. So and of course, it does pay a lot more than your regular kind of gig, right? Now, nowadays, it really truly depends which artist, but if you get the opportunity, now you need more networking for this, but it all starts with the local gigs. Once you get a name out there and that you're responsible, you're a good player, and you might meet the person that of course, the city you're in really makes the difference here. I was in Los Angeles. The reason I went there was to connect. So it's a great city to do that. So it ended up, for me, playing with Gilberto Santa Rosa, Luis Enrique, even Gugush, top Persian artists. Like, I started playing with a lot of big artists. And it was an amazing learning experience. And of course, the pay was a lot more, right? And then I got the chance to tour, to travel, to go to different places like Australia that I wouldn't have gone by myself, So that was a really great, let's say, part in my life. So this video is hopefully I'm speaking to many different kinds of musicians. You know, you might be starting, you might be a student, you might be a professional, or you might be retired with another job, but you just love how to play. So this is for everyone. Now, for this stage, I recommend you do it also in your younger years. I mean, I'm fairly young still, I'm 35, but I don't necessarily want to play anymore for other people just because this is where I'm at right now. I'm in a specific stage, but I had my period where I would just play with artists and I loved doing it. I learned so much that it was a beautiful part of my career, you know, back before COVID. Of course, COVID changed a lot of things. But if you can, start meeting people and you might get called for, you know, touring for a big artist. That's a fantastic, fantastic option. Now, number 3. Now, this is very, very common and it became really popular a little over 10 years ago, which is the sax DJ, okay? And now for this one, this can be extremely profitable. In fact, I know many people who make their whole living out of just DJ sax. What does that mean? This means playing for events, corporate events and weddings, and where you basically go for one day and you play with a DJ and you play for a wedding. It can be very, very profitable. The problem with that, a downside, is you will likely lose all your weekends on gigs. I didn't want to do that. I did that for a bit. I just didn't enjoy losing my weekends and being stuck with like doing that. But this could be a great option if you simply want, you know, you're sort of free on your weekends. You're not bothered on like, you know, going 7 hours to an event, playing, coming back and getting, you know, a nice week's pay of money. That's great. That's great. And many people do that. And what happens now for this one, the great part about this one is it's a relatively high leverage, so you get paid a decent amount for not as much time, which allows you to actually have a lot of the weekdays for free. I know some musicians that do this that are totally free on the weekdays, and they simply work Saturdays and Sundays, sometimes Fridays, maybe Thursdays, right? And they get basically all the money on those 3 days compressed, and then on the weekdays they have a lot of time. Now, dangerous thing about this is don't waste that free time, which I'm going to go and talk on the next part about this, which is you can establish an online presence. There's so much you can work on with that free time and then make your money on the weekends doing the DJ sax for weddings or corporate events, right? So, but anyway, I did that as well. So I've done all of what I'm telling in this video. I just didn't like losing my weekends. That's really very personal to me. I like being with my family. I like spending my weekends in different ways. But if you're not bothered by that, I know many people from all ages, from young to like all the way to you know 65-year-old people that do this and they love it and they like it works for them, right? So that's another way to make money as a saxophone player. Keep in mind, this is particularly for saxophone players, not just for every musician. I'll make other videos about composing and other things like that. But I wanted to make one specifically to give you ideas on how to make money as a saxophone player. Now, number 4, one that I love a lot, which is recording artists and also remote recording. So this is more when you start getting a little bit of a name out there. And of course, by the way, once I go to like the number 5 and 6, which are all online stuff, you're gonna see that the online stuff feeds everything else, because if you get big online, basically you'll get all sorts of jobs or more options. But anyway, recording artist means you likely need to play all the saxophones and other woodwinds. You know, I've done so much work in the past 10 years. It helped me a lot to record for film, TV, and for other artists, get paid for it, either go to a studio or record from my house, and sometimes even get royalties for it, performance royalties. So depending, now this can be harder. Again, you need a good name and you need the contacts, but this can be very profitable. So if you're a good player, and if you know, for example, as a saxophone player, if you play flute, clarinet, all the saxophones, and even other instruments, this could be very nice thing for you to do from your house. This doesn't need to be at all your main gig. This could be you could be a recording artist. So by the way, all of this first ways of making money that I'm sharing, you could do them at the same time. You could do a few local gigs. You could do a few corporate events here and there. You could, whenever you have free time on your weekdays, you could either, well, have a job or develop your online presence, right? And maybe here and there, if you get called to perform with a big artist, you can do that as well. I sometimes, when I did that, I started decreasing the amount of times that I did it, but I still would do one tour a year, and that would suffice. You know what I mean? Sometimes that would be a good thing to balance out. So it depends. You can mix them up depending on the stage you're at with your musicianship and with your life, if you have kids, if you have family, if you have another job, etc. I've been a full-time musician, so I've been lucky enough to be able to combine this in all sorts of ways. But yes, recording work, get connected is really important. Go to networking events if you live in a big city where you can talk to people and let them know that you're available for recording. Online is a great way to do that as well. And start getting called. This could be a great little part-time thing that you can do. You know, this is something that compounds little by little. You know, you might end up recording for a little TV show or for something else. It's just a good thing to keep in mind. Number 5, now on to the online world. This is my personal favorite, and this is the one that I've boosted the most, especially after COVID, where there were no gigs. I was stuck in LA with inflation going all over the roof, and I was making no money with gigs at all. Everything was canceled for so long that I just boosted my online presence. I used to be the kind of person that would not like the online presence. Oh no, I would just want to like do gigs and stuff like that, until I realized the power of the online presence. I remember the first time back in I think it was 2017 or 18, where I did one of my first posts of a solo on Instagram, and somebody bought my ebook from that post. And I think it happened overnight. I woke up and I had like $100 that somebody, you know, like 2 or 3 purchases. And I just fell in love with the process of being present online. Then I'm going to talk in a little bit about selling your products and things like that. But to me, I loved it because I didn't have to waste time in traffic going to a gig, especially in LA. I hate driving, so some people love it. To me, I just hated wasting a day, you know, driving for hours to a gig. And then the payment didn't compensate the inflation. So to me, I stopped the gigging for other people. You know, kind of like I did it still, but not as often, right? So I started the online. I said, you know what? This is just going to compound. And this is the art of compound interest, right? When you start posting and actually getting better, and people see us, you start collecting an audience that actually sees you and watches you improve. A lot of people are scared on this part because they feel they're not good enough. And here's the thing, you have to delete that. You know, of course, when I started, I was already fairly good, but I've improved so much since. And you know what? You can delete older posts. You just have to get to the habit and consistency of doing it, because here's the hard part about this. You need to be consistent. Without consistency, your online presence will just be like having 1 gig a year. Right? So if you need that consistency, people will start calling you. So let's talk about the previous ones for a second. If you're constantly, let's say you're already gigging, you're touring, you're recording, you're playing for a few corporate events, you could be building your online presence all along and even film what you're doing. This is what I'm doing, you know, film extracts. I wish I started earlier when I was, you know, I wish I started when I was touring with the salsa stars. I didn't do any content back then. I would, you know, that would have been amazing. Behind the scenes, playing with Gilberto Santa Rosa, playing with this star, playing with, oh man, it would have been amazing, but I didn't have the mindset back then. So if you're a musician and you're at a level where you're ready to, you know, make more money with your saxophone and you just want to take it to the next level, start posting, start recording. Don't be scared of it, really. Honestly, I learned years ago, nobody really cares. And that was really liberating, because we feel everybody's like watching us. Nobody's watching you. And if they do, good. That's what you want anyway, right? But don't be so obsessed with how you sound. Just do it. Get into the habit on it and get good at it while doing it. You know, you would have seen me. I wish I would have filmed, or I would have kept the first time I was on camera. It was a joke. It was really a joke. And both playing and talking, it was just not working, you know, but I've gotten used to it and now I love it. I personally love doing these videos for you. But anyway, the online, getting a presence, and the big part about this is to establish a brand, right? And this is where a lot of musicians fail. I know so many amazing musicians from LA that play insanely amazing, and they're great people and they're super professional, but they just never wanted to get into the online stuff. I don't criticize that at all. I'm just like, you're wasting a big opportunity, because then you see older people and older musicians, they're so great and they're still saying yes to the $200 gigs when they are at a level for like a $2,000 gig. They're not at the level for a $200 gig. And it's like the reason they're accepting it is because they haven't, today it's all online. If you don't have an online presence, you're literally all the way down here, unless you're from the old school and everybody knows your name. But nowadays, if you're looking to the future, you need an online presence and an online branding. When I started out with online, it was optional, but now it became mandatory. So I'm actually happy because I started it when it wasn't. And I've seen the benefits. In my career has exploded thanks to my Instagram account, thanks to just even YouTube, making these videos now. It's a new thing. I actually started boosting my YouTube channel last year. I wish I started it 6 years ago or more. But no, I was slow with it, and I'm starting it now, and I can see the effect it's having. You get people start trusting you, people start buying your products, people start connecting with you. Hey, I saw this video. Oh man, I saw this video. I want to hire you for a recording session. Maybe you get a message about, I've got many hundreds of messages about people wanting to hire me for private events, but I just don't do them anymore. But they're like, hey, I want you to play at my event, like the DJ sax thing I'm telling you. So it's a great way to get more of the other work while building an online presence, while, hopefully, eventually you'll make money online as well. But it's consistency game. You have to be consistent and you have to try to get better each time. That is number 5. Now let's go to 6. And we're going to get a little more technical now with the technology, okay? I call this the online ecosystem. So the previous one is just the branding. So it's like you as an artist to just be more present online with whatever you want to do. But for this one, I'm talking more about the musician entrepreneur, which is my favorite and is what I am, okay? And it's creating an ecosystem. And meaning selling products online. That's number 1, the basic one. So if you do a YouTube channel, if you do an Instagram account and you're posting, putting links in your bio. For example, I started selling ebooks. That was my first thing. Then online courses. Then I started selling just lessons. Then now I do an online coaching, a high-level coaching, right? Which I'm going to talk about in a second. But you can sell things. You can sell merch. If you're an artist, maybe if you don't do courses or you don't like education, you can still sell a lot of other things. You can sell a signed version of your album and put it on your Instagram bio so that you get more fans and people start buying. Hey, you want to support me? Buy, You can do things like that. Now, other things are subscription-based, like Patreons. Now you have school where you get community platforms and you can do specifically curated materials for a selected group of people that pay you a monthly fee. That's a great way for recurring revenue. Now, I'm not saying that's the only thing you should do. You should create an ecosystem. What do I mean with ecosystem? For example, the YouTube channel, to me, it's becoming like this entry place, right? Where people watch my videos and it generates trust. People know who you are. So when let's say they contact you or they buy something from you, they know about you. And even if you talk to them, now it's like it works for you. It works on selling you as a person, as a brand. So YouTube channel is amazing because it's owned by Google. It means that YouTube works with SEO, which means search engine optimization, meaning the wordings that you put on your videos, and especially now with AI, when people search that on Google, you will show up. And that's just extremely generous. YouTube, it's for free. You can put your content out there and people can find you online. And then you have social platforms like Instagram that's ever changing, and TikTok, but it's still great when you start posting on Instagram, posting good content, short form content. If you're practicing, if you're doing anything, just film a little clip. I know people are lazy about it. Just do it. Make it part of your thing, right? Just record a little clip. Hey, this is me warming up for this amazing corporate event. Hey, this is me. Look, check this out. I was practicing this solo today. What do you think? Make it engaging, I got up to 95,000 followers now on Instagram. Hopefully I'll keep growing, but just by doing that, by just starting to sharing. And you know what? I made no money the first year. I was just doing it. Now there's so many ways I make money with selling ebooks, coaching, courses. People just find my courses sometimes online and they buy it because they they found it and now they see my YouTube video, so now they trust me. They might see a reel, you know what I mean? That's when I'm talking about ecosystem, it all feeds into each other. They might find you, but then they're not sure about you. So they go to YouTube and they search Lorenzo Ferrero. Oh man, this guy talks about rhythm and improvisation and I loved his concept. I'm gonna buy his course. Or I'm gonna email him and see and ask if he gives lessons. Or, I don't know, you heard a great video from me. I wanna hire you for something. You know what I mean? It's an ecosystem of a free advertisement that social media and technology provides nowadays. Free advertisement. You don't have to pay for it. You can, which is the next step. You can also pay for advertisement. You can boost a few posts. You don't even have to pay a lot of money. I have something called engagement ads on Facebook and Instagram, which is literally the posts that I do organically that do really well. I go to the ads manager and I just put a little money on each of them. And what I do is engagement ad. I want my ads to be shown more in California or in here, in Europe. And I just put like maybe $1 a day, like 30, you know, let's say $40 a month of you just boosting your post. Now, if you want more info about this, I'll make another video, leave it in the comments, but this is one of the best ways that I found. You simply boost the posts that are already doing good. That way they keep circulating, you know, because social media sometimes after a week or two, the post dies. So it's a good way to keep circulating. You can also repost constantly, not on YouTube, because YouTube is evergreen and it stays there and it's a compounding effect. So you put a video and it stays there forever. And if it does good, YouTube will move it for years. But platforms like Instagram and TikTok, you need to be posting consistently, meaning that if you posted something 60 days ago that did well, you can post it again. People won't realize, and if they do, they don't care, right? They like new people will see it. Maybe you add a little different tagline and it does better than before. You know what I mean? So you can recycle. You don't have to create something new every single time. You can rinse, repeat, recycle, test, try out. To me, it's a lot of fun because I get to experiment and see what people react and see what people want. I'm an online educator, so for me, the education is a big part of what I do, and it's a big part of how I make money online. Okay, now, since this video is for everybody, I know some of you don't necessarily like educating. So you can sell products, you can sell yourself as a recording artist, as a brand, you can sell your music, your CDs. Now, if you are good conveying information, even if you're not that great yet, but you're improving and you're getting better, you can still share your knowledge and pull somebody that's behind you, you know. I know many great players that are not very good teachers, and other players that might not be the greatest, but they convey information really good. So you can still, if you like it, you can create. I know, I have some students, and I know some people that you know, are intermediate level, and they're doing really well selling education because they convey it really well. So you can do you know, you can actually simply share what you're learning and showcase what you learn on the saxophone, and people will connect with you. And then later you can do your course, you can sell it, you can do your community, you can charge a subscription for patrons. So you don't have to be the top to do that. You can start earning money with music education online at a very early stage. But leave it in the comments if you are curious or if you want me to do more videos specifically about selling your products online. So that's what I mean by ecosystem. Create really not just a brand, but an ecosystem that provides, like a company, really, you know, generates income from courses, from coaching, etc. And something that I learned from people like Russell Branson, you know, the value ladder. You can have a ladder of products. Okay, so the coaching is going to be the most expensive thing. It's going to be very premium, only just a handful of people. Biggest value, biggest transformation. Then you can have like an online course or a community. Then you can have like a, you know, an ebook. Then you can have free trainings. You can do Facebook ads and have like just get leads, get emails, you know. You can put at the end of your video, hey, here's a free training, which I'm probably going to leave on a pinned comment here. If you want to watch my free training, you're going to see it in the description. Check out my free training about improvisation. You can check it out if you like it. I already collected your email. Now I'm going to send you more emails later on telling you about the story, about what I do, and you might purchase a product later on. What I do is you need to gain trust, right? But you do that with content. That's the best way for you not to just have to speak to. Imagine if you had to speak to every single person that watches your video all the time. It will be exhausting. This is a good way to convey information and create an ecosystem that provides for you. Anyway, leave it in the comments if you want me to talk more about this in the future. Now, the last one, and this is my favorite one, and it's one that I discovered a lot later, recently actually. And it's the whole concept of coaching, right? Mastermind and elevating, creating an exclusivity during, like if you're a music educator, of course, but even if you're not an educator, you can still create all sorts of coaching. Okay, what I mean with coaching, it's a high level, high ticket, which means you're going to charge more, but you're going to provide a transformational experience for someone. Now, I'm really good at it. I started doing it now because the concept with coaching is to save someone years of struggle that you went through. I went through a lot of struggles, especially back then when I was studying. Technology wasn't as big. You couldn't find an Instagram post that would educate you about jazz improvisation. You couldn't find it that easy. Yeah, YouTube was there, but it was all very crowded. It still is now, but the coaching is direction is, hey, here's what I suffered. I'm going to teach to you these techniques so you don't have to go through that, right? And it's one-on-one experience. Now you can frame this as however you want, but this allows me to travel the world, coach students all over the world, and have completely freedom on my time. You can have an exclusive group of people. Then from there, it can feed into your business. Then you can have, not everybody might be able to afford that. You can also have a community. Then you can have a course. You can give value at every stage and at every price point, and even free trainings. But the idea here is to protect your time, protect your value, and also getting to a point where you help musicians. Sometimes when you pay more attention. And when you get paid more, you work better and you actually give more. Like you give, and it's all, with money and with work, to me, just an energetic exchange. It's an exchange of energy. The reason I stopped doing the gigs is because it was taking too much of the energy and I was not getting the monetary equivalent for the energy that I was spending. Now, that was me. I know some people that they end up suffering so much through gigs, and it's like, man, like, you don't have to do that. There's other ways, but they just think that the hard way is the only way to do it. You need to get paid for your time, for your value, but you also need to work for it. You need people to trust you. And to me, I have not found a better way for people to trust you, at least in the big numbers, as to just be present online and create a brand that people recognize as, oh, that's him. Even your sound. Oh, look, I've seen this guy. I've seen this guy. I've seen this guy. I'm seeing him again. Oh, I'm going to check out his coaching. I'm going to buy his course. Be so consistent. There's an Alex Hormozy phrase that I love it, where it's, put an insanely amount of volume out there of content or of anything that it would be unreasonable for you not to succeed, right? Of course, it has to be good, but you only get good by doing it. Especially my generation, I'm a millennial, right? 35 years old. We kind of immigrated to technology. We kind of got raised without it. And then, I had my first iPhone when I was 24. So fairly late, if you think now kids have iPhones when they're like 3 years old. So, and I, one of the biggest things I see in my generation is they're scared if it has to be perfect if I'm going to post it online. So I'm going to rehearse it and practice it. How do you know if it's going to be perfect if you don't actually test posting, right? How can you prepare for one concert if you have not played for others? You need to fail. My first year of Instagram posts was very bad. Maybe so some posts succeeded. I analyzed what worked, and then the platforms of course changed, and I kept changing with them. But it's all an ongoing process, which honestly I think it's why I love entrepreneurship so much, because it's a growth game. It's not like with everything, it's a growth game. But I hate to see some musicians that they get to a top level and it's like, okay, now you call me, I go to the gig. It's like, and there's I don't know, share your life, share your story. There's so much effect that you can do to me online, doing these videos, even if it just gets to 1,000 views. That's amazing. 1,000 people hopefully got some value out of this one or my other videos. And then, an Instagram post or whatever it is, like just putting yourself out there to make a brand, to make an ecosystem, and to hopefully take your income to the next level. All right, so hopefully this was all useful. And again, so we went to the traditional routes of making money as a saxophone player, then to the online world. And now I want to make hopefully a part 2 where I talk about more for musicians in general. If you're a composer, arranger, there's plenty of other ways to make money. And my recommendation is that you kind of do all of them and then focus on the ones you like more. For me personally, if you would ask me, I love the online stuff. For me, I love making money online. I love sharing my knowledge. I love really helping people all over the world, make money with it, and be completely free with my time. I do not like to depend on gigs. That's just me. It stressed me out too much at a period of my life where I don't handle that physical stress depending on a physical, presence to make money. To me, I prefer to make videos and to bring value to the online space. That's me. But some people, for example, they love the sax DJ because they love playing that. It's like, I love it and I can make money with it. Great. So combine, make a combination. Actually, like the word ecosystem, make an ecosystem, a broader, a bigger ecosystem with everything that I've talked about today. You might, I still take a few local gigs. Now, I don't depend monetarily, I don't depend on them to me because they pay much lower now for how expensive everything is. But I still do it because I love playing, right? But it's so much more beautiful when you can take gigs and not depend on that money, just take them because you like them. And then, of course, get paid for it as well. But then, when you create an ecosystem where you're receiving income from different sources, it becomes a beautiful thing where you're not depending on just one thing. You can do gigs that you like. You can accept the gigs that you genuinely like playing and make money from them for sure. But that you start, there's a lot of people that I've seen in the music industry that take gigs that they hate just because they need to get paid. So I don't want you to fall in the trap of that. Hopefully this inspired you. Be part of the online world. Unless if you really hate it, it's fine. But if you're a professional musician and you're really looking for different ways to monetize online, I totally recommend it. Now, please leave in the comments if this video was helpful. Of course, I'm gonna make more and a part 2 probably, but leave your questions below. What would you like to know about monetizing online, or just if you had any questions about this? And please help me out and subscribe to my channel. Turn on notifications. We post weekly videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.